Hey everyone, welcome to Reading the Green and our golf DFS show. My name is Mike, joined with Kyle and Jordan on Tuesday, September 13th. We're back after a few weeks off. We're a little rusty. We're going to kind of figure this out as we go. Remember how to be podcasters and talk about the Fortinet Championship, which is kind of springs up here in the middle of September for the PGA Tour season. And then we got a whole bunch of interesting things after that. So guys, how was break? How was your off season?
Jordan starts us off with a yawn. That's how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stamina has waned.
It was good. So and it's been part of the pod theme so far. I've always recording from somewhere different, but hey, it's still nice out in Minnesota. We can still play some golf. I'm currently recording in a screened-in porch, so no complaints over here.
Yes, he's back. He's back in the good state. Doesn't have to watch that crappy Iowa football all the time anymore.
Yeah, I can't bet as easly anymore either, though. That's part of an issue.
They were supposed to be in 2-0 with scoring 14 points. That would have been pretty impressive.
What are we talking about here? All right, Mike, tell us. Have you played any golf lately?
I actually, during the break, I did play. I played a couple rounds. I got in. I played a round at my club. I'm on a wait list at a club, and I got to play with a couple of sticks, and that was fun. They showed me a thing or two, although I did birdie 3 of the first 5 holes and was feeling pretty good about myself, and had quite a few 3-putts on the back 9. But I did play yesterday in a charity event, and it was beautiful, beautiful weather. Like it's like 75 degrees and sunny here. We've had great weather. I played yesterday in a charity event for my neighbor's foundation called Abbey's Hope, and I was hoping, I think maybe sometime this fall, maybe I'd like to get him on and have a conversation about this, because the story is pretty gut wrenching, but they've done some incredible work. He lost his daughter to a pool injury on a poorly maintained pool back in 2008, and so has spent 14-15 years here with his family building out this foundation that really is working to keep kids safe around water. So they've done some water safety legislation. They distribute a lot of life jackets. They're getting into doing swimming lessons. And it was really cool to be a part of that, because I've known the story for a while, but didn't really understand the extent of the Abbey's Hope Foundation. And so to get to go out and just kind of like soak in what the foundation was doing, play golf at a really nice golf course in the Metro. I'll talk about the format in a second, because he calls it the Abbey's Shamble, and he just kind of made up this format, but it was like super fun for a charity event. But Jordan, I wanted to ask you, because I know that I think you have a family contact too, that kind of had a similar situation. And, it's so crazy, like having kids and just thinking about like how much time we spend around water and going through something like that. Really, really tough. And I know he lives it every single day, and this work is keeping kids safe. So shout out to Scott and Katey and Abbey's Hope, because like I said, I'd like to get a conversation with him at some point, but really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it makes you, like, my family wasn't directly impacted, but like every time I'm in a pool now, I like look down at the drains, right?
Okay.
You see they all now have these, it's like big,
covers.
it's like a big domed thing, right? So that it spreads out the suction more and whatnot. Like, oh, us growing up never even thought about that, right? We all swam in pools hundreds of hours, just freak accident, getting down at the bottom, can't get out. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it was his work that helped push legislation through, I think about 10 years ago, that required a certain level of retrofitting on all these pools. And that's really good stuff. So I just, like I said, big shout out to Abbey's Hope for having me out and allowing me to contribute and be a part of the festivities. But here, the Abbey's Shamble, though, and like I said, Scott made this up, but I think it was really fun. So mostly a scramble format, except you scramble off the tee, and instead of picking the best shot, you pick the best 2 shots, and then you divide your foursome into 2 twosomes and play 2-man scramble from each of the selected tee shots, and then combine your scores later. So,
Wow.
So like you still scramble the whole way, but it's mostly a 2-man scramble or 2-person scramble.
That
makes it a lot harder. And the strategy, my group happened to be someone, a peer of mine, not quite as long as me off the tee, but like longer than my dad and my dad's friend. And so the strategy was like, hey, once we all got out in the fairway or whatever, it's like, okay, well, who wants to hit what shot? You guys should pair up, or you guys should pair up. Like I had more length from the fairway, so I usually try to hit the shot that was further back. Give my dad a shot closer into the green. So it just was a very interesting strategically, and you did that every hole, so you didn't have to stick with the same twosome.
So you could hit a drive, like one of the drives got selected, but then play from the other
ball,
further back ball. That is interesting.
Yeah, so there was a lot of strategy, maybe over strategizing sometimes, but it was.
I like it. How else do I get to play from a 320-yard drive?
That sounds like a really cool format, but you definitely need golfers, right?
Well,
like you can't be out there with, yeah, right. Like if a lot of times scrambles, right? You're with coworkers who have golfed 5 times, 10 times in their life. Like they would never be able to wrap their head around that type of concept. But if you're like golfers, right, that'd be fun. I'd love to go out and do that and do all the strategy.
And he warned me that there was a couple of teams. They had a full field, so it was 36 teams. He warned me there was a couple of stacked teams, and there were. And some of the guys like from my club that I know are sticks that were on a few of the teams, and so the winning score was 14 under. And so
on a double, on a two per,
right.
You took two stroke scores on every hole, right?
Yep.
How did it only get to 14?
Because 2-man scramble is hard. Like you can't be as aggressive in a 2-person scramble. And like for example, when my partner gets up there on the green and rolls his first putt pass by 6 feet, I can't like also take a run at it. And so but at 14 under, I thought that was pretty good. We were 2 under, and we had decent golfers in our group. We maybe could have got to 5. But so anyways, it was super fun. Would love to do it again next year.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
So,
maybe you'll invite the RTG team out next year. We can win it.
You guys want to make a similar donation that I made, and I think we could probably figure that out.
Well, it's the tax deductible from the RTG checking account.
Perfect. I just gotta make sure it comes out of our account. Yeah. Right. So okay. So let's we could transition a little bit into the PGA Tour Talk this week. Kyle's informed me that there will be no live talk on the podcast forever. So I think that probably makes our listeners happy. I'm still gonna get a good laugh here and there. But Jordan, you texted me or texted Kyle and I the other day, and you said, hey, I got a buddy that works out at Silverado. I got an inside take at Silverado. Should we see if he wants to chat this week? And of course, we're just kind of like, yeah, sure. We did that with your buddy Ari on TPC Southwind. That was really great. So sure, let's get your guy on. You then informed me that he's the GM of Silverado and that he's a little busy this week. Can't get on the phone for the pod.
Yeah, I will say when I sent it out, I called him the director of golf operations at Silverado and sent his bio on their website. So I was trying to let you know, like he's a big deal out there. That's why we need to get out there, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so we get Silverado Resort, and this is a kind of an interesting event because this is in like I said, I'm so rusty. My geographical prep. Silverado's in what city?
Well, we'll say Napa Valley
area.
Napa. Yeah. Okay. So this tournament is interesting because it pops up this time of year, and it just draws a lot of people out who want to have this kind of like week in Napa, and then we don't get another PGA Tour event for a couple of weeks, and so it's kind of in this weird spot in the schedule. But I suppose it normally is either before the President's Cup or the Ryder Cup. But what did he say? What are some of the inside takes on Silverado?
Oh no, I didn't ask him any of those questions. I asked him how busy he was, and he said really fucking busy. And I said, cool. Well, good luck this week. And he said, thanks. And that was the end of it. This is why
all right.
We'll record it like 3 weeks early when he's got, a normal schedule.
We can do it anytime. Yeah. Well, what I understand about Silverado is that you can kind of just hit it wherever you want, and they're not going to roll the rough real long. You're not going to be penalized. In fact, I don't even think hitting the fairway really does anything for you. It's just hit it long. It's going to turn into a wedge fest, and that's about it.
I do love California golf for that, right? Like most of the courses, even Torrey, the other places I've played out there, like the rough is short. It's nice. I do remember the big break, I think was at Silverado one year. Do you watch Big Break on Golf Channel?
Not really.
I figured that would be right up your alley, Mike.
It is, but I didn't.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Well, on that note, I agree with you, Mike. Rough's not penal. Actually, it had the highest greens and regulation percentages from missed fairways over the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That is like, this feels like I know we're going to get into this, but this feels like a Cam Davis type setup. That type of player that's just like long, careless, and just starts to roll things in. And that's why I think it's interesting. Like, I think there's a few guys, and we'll get into the model here, but there's a few things, a few guys priced in spots where like ball striking is not really at a premium here. Like, I want guys that are going to hit it long and hit some good wedges and roll some putts in.
Yeah, but if you look at who's won over the last 10 years, there is a little bit of a difference. So I don't think that's the only formula. The fairways are narrow, so you are right. So there'll be a lot of missed fairways, and you'll be out of that rough. But if you can put it closer, because they are POA greens and pretty tough from a 3-putt percentage over the years. So if you can put it closer on your approach shots, that does add some value. And you've seen guys like Brendan Steele pop up and win twice.
Fair enough, but okay. So why don't we do this? Why don't we jump into the model, Kyle, and kind of see where things are shaking out? I will preface this by saying we've taken the 2 weeks to refresh a few things in our approach, and we're going to do that still here, probably through the end of the month and into October before the fall swing really picks up. But I think one thing that we really want to do, and we'll do better of going forward, is trying to isolate, trying to help kind of sift through some of the noise in our expert content and try to compare apples with apples. Because I think we've talked about before where we tend to just kind of pool a lot of the data together. And I think there's maybe some insights to be drawn of, I'm looking for value plays this week. Can I kind of group that data together in a better way to understand where the value plays might be congregating? So more to come on what we've done with the model, but for the most part, we're still going to go by our favorite metrics, which are mention share and power index.
Yeah, so far we have 5 golfers cresting over 50% mention share. Leading the way is Taylor Pendrith at 56%, coming in at 9,800 this month. We have Brendan Steele, as I mentioned, Cameron Davis, Max Homa, and Patrick Rogers, all at 50% mention share. And you got a little bit of everything from a salary perspective there. You have Patrick Rogers, 7,300, all the way up to Max Homa at 10,500. So a good array of different golfers at different price points, leading the way in the model so far.
Patrick Rogers. What do you think? What do you think he thinks about Aaron?
He was not impressed with his performance on Sunday night. I'll tell you that much.
Can we talk about how fucking old Aaron Rodgers looks? Like, he's 6 years younger than Tom Brady and looks like he could be Tom Brady's dad.
Well, I think his career has been a little higher stress than Tom Brady's.
All that Wisconsin living compared to Florida now for Tom, right?
Whoever came up with that, whoever posted that CM Punk interview after kind of like Sunday evening, they really won the internet on Sunday. That was just so epic. Anyways, not a football podcast, but that there was just some, Aaron Rodgers just really had a day, and it was really fun to watch.
Yes.
So I do think what I struggle with this week, Kyle, is I struggle with the 10K range, and I see Max Homa up there, and Homa, like, he's obviously had a great season last season. We'll call it last season. I question where he struggled with his approach play. I think it's been documented that his strokes gained over the last, 6 rounds losing strokes on approach. I wonder where his head's at going into President's Cup then next week. Like, what is he doing with this week? Is he looking to grind all the way to Sunday afternoon, or?
Well, and not even that, right? Because he's the defending champ at this event. So, I mean, he's got a lot going on, trying to get his game right for next week. He's played well historically on the California swing and the California courses. And there isn't a ton else I like at 10K. That said, I'm not going to be all in there. There's going to be a little trepidation, that's for sure. Because I think your points are valid.
Yeah, it's a week where I think you can get away with leaving a bunch on the table or just starting in like the mid 9K. With Max he hasn't played this golf tournament in under these circumstances. I know he's the defending champ, but like President's Cup has got to be going to be like one of the crowning achievements of his career. And so he hasn't had to play this event before doing that. So I don't know. I'm a little wary of 10K range this week and love some of the plays just starting below that.
Yeah, and to your point about the event and it kind of falling in a weird spot in the schedule, there's all the changes going on, and it's a weaker field than normal. I mean, granted, this is, we're starting the fall swing here, but there's usually some big names, as you mentioned, that wanted to go hang out in Napa. Patrick Cantlay has played this in the past. He's not here.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think?
Yeah, where are those subpar golfers?
Patrick Cantlay? We still got plenty of the has-beens here. We have Ricky Fowler, we have Jason Day. So they still exist.
We're not going to crack it.
Anyway, I'm going to roll right in, Mike, to
I'm just,
my 3 plays of the week.
Let's Kyle, you brought up Liv here, so we're gonna talk. Tied for 4th last year, Mark Leishman and Taylor Gooch. Wait, did Mito go to Liv?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, he got 3rd.
Not officially yet.
Okay, then that's kind of the end of it for.
Get out of here. There's nothing to even talk about.
Harold Varner is there. Yep, Tringale.
Okay, side note on Harold Varner, did we see the image of him at the Eastern Carolina football game?
I did not.
I nailed Tringale. I got at least one of them.
You did. Varner just like blackout slouched against a flagpole at the ECU game. Yeah, like decked out in his Jordan gear and
just drinking his $20 million payday away.
So anyway, the 3 places I'm looking for so far this week, starting with Taylor Pendrith. Yes, 56% mention share, pretty strong MPI at 69. And I know we've had the 2 weeks off, so it's a little bit of a caveat here, but since he came back from injury, T13, T11, T2, T13, he did have the 68th in the playoffs, but then followed that back up with T8. You just can't find that form. So 9,800 is a much higher price point than we've had him at, but I'm gonna consider starting there because we talked about some of the hesitation around the 10K. After that, I'm looking at Ches Reavie coming in at 7,600. He's next in our mention share at this point with 37%. Him and Maverick McNeely are sitting there. Ches Reavie just has great course history here and had a decent finish to the year, but he's made 8 starts of this event. He's made 8 cuts. He has a 3rd, 10th, and 4 top 25s. So I'm going to count on him to keep that going. And then we got a lot of new faces in the field this week, gentlemen, with the Korn Ferry Tour grads, DP World Tour guys coming over. I'm going to the top of the KFT grads with Taylor Montgomery. 8,500, 31% mention share, 30 MPI, and I think someone we're going to hear a lot about this year.
Well, Kyle, I love that take because I think that's the thing that most casual DFS players are going to forget about. We've been so locked into the cream of the crop on the PGA Tour, and you kind of forget that like KFT has been playing, and so the guys that finished at the top they're rolling in here with a lot to play for. And so I think Taylor Montgomery played great the end of the PGA Tour season. then plays great in the KFT playoffs. And so I think I really like that play. I think even someone like Ches Reavie, like you mentioned, at 7,600 feels like a steal with that kind of course history. 7,600 is a great price point for that. I will complement your plays with, I said I liked Cam Davis. Cam Davis feels like a Cam Davis type course. I don't know. I think the winner is going to be somebody like, I think Taylor Pendrith is a great call. I know he's at the top of the model right now. I feel like this is an event that I would not be surprised to see him win. But similar player, Cam Davis, very long off the tee. I would like to back him as well. And I'll stick with fading the 10K range. I don't see anybody there that's a must play. Thagala could win this event. I don't think anyone would be surprised, but he's so streaky, so volatile that I don't want to miss out, but I can't play him every week because he burns me as much as he pays off. And last obligatory call.
Yeah, on the Thagala note, sorry to cut you off there, Mike. I like him more as an outright bet this week. You know, a dart throw on the outright bet. I do have him on the card, but I like him more there than anything DFS related.
Yeah, I think that's where I would play him. I just think there's too many other guys at lower price points that will give you just as high of a ceiling. And then my obligatory comment here, seeing a $9,300 Tom Hoagie, just what is going on? The guy has been I know he had a great tour championship, but like he was so terrible the second half of the season, and now I got to play him at $9,300. So I do not understand the pricing on this guy sometimes.
So I knew that was coming. So I have a little fun fact for you. In this field, he's fourth in official golf ranking in this whole field.
That's and I assume the FedEx Cup playoffs award world ranking points.
I believe so, outside of Westlake, right? Because it's only a 30-man.
Eastlake, okay.
Or Eastlake, Westlake.
Yeah, Eastlake. I don't know about Westlake. I don't know who's playing over at Westlake. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. So I'm not saying I'm going there at all. I just think it's just the pricing is a little bit shocking there. But I know he had a good finish at Eastlake. So, anyways, Jordan, anyone else that you'd like to add from kind of the top of the model here that you would be interested in playing?
So I was frantically Googling Corn Ferry people to see who made it on the list, which, might not be a bad topic for the next pod, is like, who are the 10 to, to look out for this year, right? Help the listeners without having to Google it. Cause I Googled it and I didn't even see a couple of the guys that I know made it because they qualified in different ways than being in the top 25, right? Like things like that.
So don't start throwing out names yet, Jordan. If you're gonna start, let's throwing out some names because
this is coming for the name game.
Oh.
Yeah, it's coming as part of our name game this week.
Okay, well, so that was kind of a digression, but I've got the NFL season started this week also, so I'm going to go with NFL football players' brothers. And I don't know if you guys knew there are 3 of them here. I previously talked about Patrick Rogers, like whatever. I don't know if you know who Justin Sue's brother is.
Ndamukong?
Yeah. Yeah, Justin's adopted, so he's a small white guy. Not like his brother, but he's a great golfer. And then my other one here, we had to go all the way down. Oh, yep, I did this one last year too. Chubba's brother, Mark. But I know those are joke picks, but they're also all 7,000 to 8,200, all liked by the model as well. So they aren't crazy picks. And I'm actually going to have a fair amount of Sue, which I'm guessing, Kyle, is probably in your Corn Ferry name game.
He's not my Corn Ferry name game, but I think Sue is going to be someone that's going to garner a lot of attention this week. He was part of that stud class of college grads that came out with Morikawa and Hovland, and has just taken a little bit of a different path to get to the tour, but had some great history at USC, I believe, Mike. So, that rivalry with his brother back in the day, USC, Nebraska.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah,
they wrestled a lot. What else?
Can I offer a tangent for a second? I know I called out this podcast to you guys when I was listening to it a couple weeks ago, but listening to Tom Kim on No Laying Up, yeah, I mean, if you went back and listened to this dude is, you talk about someone that like took a different route to being a pro. I mean, Tom Kim lives all over Southeast Asia, and he turned pro when he was 15, and so he's 20 years old now. He's been a pro for 5 years. He is beyond Scotty Scheffler, beyond Colin Morikawa as far as how articulate of an interview that he is, and how much like kind of control he has over his career and how he talks about it. Fascinating. I would go back and listen to that one that they did with that NLU did with Tom Kim, who I think now he officially in the PGA Tour database goes by Tom Kim now.
Correct. Yeah, I second that. It was a great listen. He just a quick go listen to it, but yeah, he didn't live in Korea after what, 6 or something?
Yeah, he was in Australia, Philippines, just kind of all over the
Thailand.
place.
He was on the Thai tour. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, I just remember that we had talked about that. But anyways, so we can maybe transition to tiers, unless there's any other comments on the kind of the model as is. But I'm not sure, Kyle, do you have a particular tier that you have your eye on?
Well, we already talked a little bit about tier 1, and I think that's somewhere that that is a situation I will be on max, just because I think you kind of got to go there relative to some of the others in a cash contest. Obviously, if you're looking to pivot, Corey Connors or Hideki could be a decent play, but unless you're really willing to roll the dice, I don't understand how you can play Hideki with his up and down game and his injury history lately. So that's the scenario I would be looking at max. But I think the kind of what's shaping up is a hard decision from tier perspective for us is really tier 2. We've talked about Taylor Pendrith quite a bit and how the model likes him. Mike mentioned Cam Davis. And then there's also Maverick McNeely, who's not as high from a share percentage at this point, but is really strong on an MPI. So that's going to be a tough decision at this point in time. I'm sticking with my boy Pendrith, but you can make an argument to go a lot of different ways there. And you have Tom Hoge in that tier.
Yeah. I was wanted to check to see what was driving Maverick McNeely's power ranking at this point, and it looks like Landon Selinsky, Fantasy Labs Cash Plays is on him. I think he was one of our top 2 or 3 contributors from last year, and that's probably what's driving a lot of that. Sobel on him as well.
Yeah, and you make a good point there based on what we have so far. I pay attention to our Twitter account tomorrow. We'll get an updated plays list out because I think the MPI will shuffle a little bit for us. There's one Mayo article that hasn't made it in yet that will really shift things, and then our boy Matt McKay over at Fantasy Pros as well. If they have alignment from a pick, that will really drive up somebody's MPI.
It's it won't. This time of year is always tough on consistent content, and obviously that's the name of the game at RTG. We consume a ton of content, and we try to aggregate that into our model. And so hopefully we get consistent content this time of year, because I think it's hard for a lot of these fantasy experts that are very focused on football, and that sometimes we see them check in and out until we get to January. And that is what it is. But I do want to call out that, what did I tell you, Kyle? The last 8 events of the season that included the FedEx Club playoffs, if you tailed our top quartile of power index, players that were charting out at anywhere on 80 on our scale up to 100, were outscoring the rest of the model by an average of, I think it was 30 points a week. So we saw a huge benefit of tailing our power index the end of the at the end of the season last year, and that's usually where I put a lot of stake in my GPP contest and my 20 max contests, and so those really paid off. I didn't take down a huge first place, but like really had some nice ROI and a bunch of entries through the end of the year. So I'm hoping that continues to roll forward and we continue to get some of that benefit.
Yeah, and I think it offers some great leverage, because it might highlight someone who is only getting 10, 20% of the mention share. So not getting as much conversation, but conversation from the right folks, which drives a high MPI and highlights them as a great play. So as Mike mentioned, a great piece of GPP lineups.
Yeah, I mean, I'll call one out. You'd probably see his name tomorrow. You'll again, Landon Zielinski, Fantasy Labs cash plays on Kevin Streelman. Kevin Streelman not getting a ton of love in the model this week, but charting out at 95 on the power index. So I think when I look for certain contest entries that I'm going to lean heavily on our power index, I might play a little bit of Streelman or at least use him as a pivot. And those picks have been paying off. So with that, do we want to do name game?
Yes, let's get going.
Well, the one thing we haven't done, Mike, and I know you don't have your normal agenda. We didn't talk about our beers yet.
Oh, yeah.
I need to come back to that because it's
I know you've got a special one. Yes.
Great call, Jordan. Great call.
Well, do you want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have from Perennial Artisan Ales, I have their pills, and this is a hoppy pills. And it came from Katey, who is part of the half the founder of Abbey's Hope Foundation that I talked about at the beginning of the podcast. And so she gifted me, after listening to the podcast, she gifted me a 4-pack of some of her brother's favorite beer, and this is really, really good. And I know, Jordan, sometimes I'm gifted beer and I'm not so nice about it. But
so we know your takes are honest.
My takes are honest, and I really like this. And my wife is drinking one right now too. So the last 2 of them. And so thank you to the folks from Abbey's Hope for just kind of setting us up and certainly offering me a good time this week. So what are you guys drinking?
I think I'm actually drinking the same beer I was at the last podcast that we did, maybe even 2 podcasts ago. My last one, I need to make another run, but the Modist Wall Ride combo, Gravity Still Sucks. Still delicious. It is.
They had another New England that came out like right after that in a white can. I think it was called Noteworthy. That was really, really good. As a side note, my wife and I both went to the beer fridge tonight and we opened it up, and she goes, "Wait, this is all we have?" I was like, "I'm sorry." Like, we had family over. All we had was like Oktoberfest left. I'm like, "I'm sorry."
I like how Oktoberfest left, so it's a year old.
No, I bought some of the. I've had a couple of really good ones this year so far. Which I don't know. Oktoberfest starts showing up in like late August now, which is really depressing.
That's a late fall beer.
It's September. That's Oktoberfest. So luckily I do not have that problem with the fridge. I'm not at my house. My brother-in-law has a very nicely stocked fridge, so he gifted / I just took out of his fridge. DDH City Pages from Blackstack.
Oh, nice.
Best DDH IPA, 7%er. It is pretty dang solid. I recommend.
Do they give that away free in newspaper bins around the city, like City Pages?
That would be phenomenal.
Instead of paying $20 for a 4-pack or something, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jordan, for reminding us that, because I was going to come back to that at the end, so it's perfect. Kyle, hit us with the name game.
Okay, so back to our Korn Ferry Tour grads. I have a list here of 6 of them, so we're each going to take 2 that are towards the low end of the salary range. We have one guy 6,500, otherwise 61, 6,200. And I thought they were some fun names. So, heck, it's a name game. Let's go. So pay close attention here. But first off, we have Harrison Endicott at 6,200.
Endicott is a type of like lettuce, right?
Endive?
Right.
Well, here we go, Mike. Food reference for you. Next, we have Tano Goya, which, is a bean brand, 6,200. Right. We got Anders Albertson, the grocery store chain. Right. We're onto something here. And then we have Kyle Westmoreland. I mean, guy's name was Kyle. I had to throw him in. We got Trevor, and I'm going to butcher this. I have no clue. Werbylo? It's Werbylo.
Oh, Werbylo.
Oh, yeah, that guy. And then Augusto Nunez to round out our field at a solid 6,500.
Wow. So are they were all the dollar values pretty similar?
Yep, 62, 62, 61, 61, 61, 65. So
Okay.
we're each going to get two individuals.
Okay.
Hopefully we get some cut makers out of this group.
All right. So who won the last one? They get first pick, right?
Well, it was northeast southwest. So we had Neiman, and then he took off on us. And then we had Aaron Wise, and what was the S?
Then Spieth.
And Spieth.
Who won?
Clearly we prepared. Why don't we do this, since Kyle has the worst record? We'll just start fresh. Kyle has the worst record in the name game, so he'll get to take the first pick.
Well, I'll take Kyle Westmoreland.
All right, so Kyle's going Kyle Westmoreland. Are you keeping track of this, Kyle?
Yep.
And I'll go second because, and I want, now check this logic. This tournament used to be called the Safeway. Is that right?
Oh, I see where you're going with it.
Yeah. We'll just go with it.
I'm going with Anders Albertson.
Well, then I will take Augusto Nunez.
He just going for the most expensive golfer of the ones.
And he finished top in the Corn Ferry, and I loved his character in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
All right, are we snaking this, or do I get to go again?
Oh, it's got to be a snake, right? No, we don't know any of them. So go ahead, Kyle.
All right, I'll go Tano Goya.
Perfect.
So your last two are Harrison Endicott and Trevor Werbelow.
I mean, I think this is obvious. I get Harrison Endive, and Jordan gets Trevor Werbelow.
Werbelow.
All right, so Mike has Harrison Endicott and Anders Albertson. I have Tano Goya and Kyle Westmoreland, and Jordan has Trevor Werbelow and Augusto Nunez.
Augustus.
I like this. I like being able to cheer for the bottom of the board. And like you said, we'll get some cut makers, because you never know. You might be sweating out one of these guys. And can we do this as some homework? Let's figure out a season long wager to put on this. It doesn't have to be money; it can be something else. That way we can really work towards something in 45 weeks from now.
Yeah. I got some ideas.
That's good. But so question on the format this week, is it who has the individual with the highest DraftKings score, or is it the combined two DraftKings score?
That is a great question. Typically we've been going combined, but maybe we should just go best individual, switch it up.
Who picked the best one?
It is a crapshoot, so I support that.
Yeah, let's go best one. Best one. I like it.
All right, this is good. We'll firm this all up, and we'll put something on it so that we can have our listeners track along on Twitter and whatnot.
Speaking of listeners, real quick, Mike, and names. Yes, we realize this is not the Fortnite Championship. That was a little bit of us having some fun a couple weeks back. A little bit of a, I guess, inside joke there. But we realize it's not the Fortnite Championship. I'm still going to call it that from time to time. I don't care.
Did someone give you crap?
And who?
We might have a listener mention it.
How many people are going to make that mistake, though? Like, most people don't know what Fortinet is. I mean, I work in IT, and I don't even know what Fortinet does besides cybersecurity. Yeah, so it's like most people are going to say Fortnite, and I think that's funny.
Yeah, yes. I think so. And I also call the currency of Hungary Fortnites. So.
Also, we had the closest result ever at the Tour Championship with the name game. Our three players finished in order 1, 2, 3. Neiman tied for 11th, and Wise and Spieth tied for 13th. So Neiman was the winner, but they were it was -13, -12, -12.
Now that you say that, I do recall that it was close and texting about that, but it was 3 weeks ago, so who knows?
That's what I was saying. I have to go way back in the text chain to even see who each person took. So I don't remember. Anyways.
I think you had Neiman, Mike.
Oh, nice. Great. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Jordan had Wise and I had Spieth.
Wait, I thought I always picked Spieth. So you took Spieth from me? He's my homie.
My homie.
Well, you guys got anything else? I mean, I'm guessing like this is tough. Like it's football season. It's gonna be tough to be watching a ton of golf this weekend. But Vikings play on Monday night, so I guess I got that going for me. But yeah, anything else before
Monday night football games always end real well for a team you root for.
How about those Broncos just fumbling the game away?
Fumbling the game away. And just poor coaching decisions.
I flipped it on and I watched one play and it was McManus kicking a 64-yard field goal, which it seems like he had the leg, right? Like that almost went in.
It was close. I wish I would have liked to see it from a different camera angle to see if it could have actually cleared the crossbar and not just hit it. Might have just depended on the rotation, but yeah.
But the first question I asked was like, did they have a timeout because they had, I said 20 seconds left, they could have gone for it. I know that's the joke.
You also missed. The other team took a timeout to ice him, and he totally freaking shanked the first one. It wasn't even close to going. Like, he got this 80% closer to making it, but he still missed. Like, you'd think the coach might oh, shit. He wasn't even close. And when no one rushed him, nothing. And it was bad.
I might have sent this to you guys, but speaking of statistics of that situation, they have the fourth down bot on Twitter, and I think that had the chance of the Broncos winning if they went for it at 36%. Yeah, I would hope 4th and 4 you have a pretty good chance of getting that, even probably higher than that. But the program had the kick at 0, which obviously is not true. He can make that one more than once in 100, I would say. Brandon McManus with his leg, but they didn't even have that possibility of an outcome. That made me laugh.
Well, as much as I love NFL talk, you can check out our future NFL podcast at some point. You guys want to do that?
Yeah.
It's
we don't need to be everyone else and talk about both, right? Sticking to golf.
No, right. We are very much NFL noobs, but we are very good at golf DFS. So we'll leave it at that. Check out our content, our show on our YouTube channel, Reading the Green on our Twitter account at RTG Podcast DFS, and of course anywhere you get your podcasts. We'll be back. I'm not sure when. Right, we got President's Cup. We may do a show for that. Otherwise, we'll be picking things back up in early October and enjoying just a little bit of quiet time. So see you guys in a bit. Bye.